Hi everybody. Okay, today's practical lesson then is pasta and a pasta sauce. Today I've got a helper with me who's going to be helping me make this pasta sauce. That's my son Woody. He's going to be helping. Okay, so make sure that you wash your hands for at least 20 seconds. You've got an apron on, you've tied your hair back, you've got your ingredients out ready that are already weighed out, and you've got your equipment out. You've wiped your work surface and you're ready to go, following all of your hygiene and safety rules. Make sure that you only cook when you've got an adult present and the adult's there supervising you. Okay, so the ingredients that you will need today, so I'm just going to lower the camera down so you can see what you will need. The ingredients that you will need today is 1 can of chopped tomatoes. Okay, and we'll talk about all of the ingredients as we go along. You will then need 1 onion. We'll chop that in a minute. You will need some mixed herbs. Now you can either use some dried herbs like these, or you could use some fresh herbs. So this is fresh basil that I've grown in my garden, so it's really nice and fresh today. You also need some tomato puree, so a tablespoon of tomato puree, some salt and pepper for seasoning. You will need 1 clove of garlic. Okay, so that's a garlic bulb, and you will need 1 clove, so just one of the little segments out of there. Or what I had in my fridge, I've been very lazy, as you can see here, it's very lazy chopped garlic. That's a really good store cupboard ingredient to have in your fridge as well, so you could use that if you wanted to, same thing. So if you're using this, it's 1 teaspoon of this very lazy chopped garlic. And then you will need some pasta, so about 100 grams of pasta, but it depends how many people you're making this for. Alright, 100 grams will probably serve about 2 people. So I'm using these pasta tubes. And then you can add some ingredients of your own choice. So I'm going to add some mushrooms and I'm going to add some bacon. Okay, so you decide what you want to add. You could add some yellow peppers, some olives in there. It's totally up to you what you want to add to make up the rest of your pasta sauce. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is get a pan of boiling hot water to cook my pasta. So you can put your your water in a pan and get that boiling with a little bit of salt, or you could boil the kettle and then put the boiling water in here. Okay, make sure you've got an adult present when you are doing that. Obviously there are concerns about using boiling water, so be very, very careful. Okay, so I've got my pan of water. I'm going to put that onto a high heat to get that boiling. Once it's started to boil, you can add your pasta to it. Okay, so I'm going to add my pasta, and then this is going to cook for about 10 minutes. Now remember, when using saucepans, make sure that the handle is always pointing in. Okay, we don't want to see any handles pointing out like this, which could easily get knocked over if somebody walks by. Make sure the handle is always pointing inwards. Okay. Right, whilst that's boiling, we can then get on with the rest of preparing the ingredients. So Woody, if you want to come and help prepare these ingredients for me. Now I'm using a green chopping board for all my vegetables, and I've used a red chopping board to chop up my bacon. I want to make sure I'm preventing any cross-contamination of raw meat onto any vegetables or cooked foods. Okay, cross-contamination means the transfer of bacteria from one object to another. So it could be your hands, it could be knives, it could be chopping boards. So I've used separate knives and separate chopping boards for vegetables and raw meat. And make sure you are always washing your hands in between. Okay, so first of all, let's prepare the mushrooms. Now when you are preparing any ingredient and using a sharp knife, You never put a sharp knife into a bowl of hot soapy water. Somebody could easily put their hands into the water and cut themselves. You always hold the knife by the handle, pointing down if you're walking around with the knife. When you come to wash up your knife, you always have the blade that's not sharp, so the non-sharp side pointing towards you. With your cloth, just one stroke of the blade, dry it up and put it back safely where you store your knives. Okay. The method we're going to use to chop ingredients is called the bridge and claw method. Okay, so bridge and claw. If you want to chop something in half, you have your hand like a bridge. You hold your product, whatever it is you're cutting, your knife goes under the bridge and you can then cut it in half. Then if you want to slice that into smaller pieces, your hand like a claw, your thumb behind your fingers, you're holding whatever it is you're going to cut with your thumb behind your fingers, nice and secure, and then you can slice whatever it is that you are cutting up. Okay? Alright, Woody, if you just want to finish off cutting those mushrooms for me. Your hand like a bridge, knife under the bridge, hand like a claw. And slice that up for me. Okay, very good. Alright, good. So let's put that now then onto a plate. So we've got room on your chopping board. So put any prepared ingredients onto a plate until you need them. Thank you. Alright. Let's move on to cutting the onion. Okay, so again, I'm going to use the bridge and claw method. Hand like a bridge, knife under the bridge. I'm going to cut this in half. I think I'm only going to use half of this onion because it's quite a large one. Okay, so I'm going to put that to one side. I can wrap that and put that in the fridge and use it for something else. I'm then going to peel off the skin. Make sure you're adopting the rule clean as you go at all times, so keeping your area nice and clean. Any rubbish goes into the bin. I'm going to leave this root on, okay, because that's where most of the juice is concentrated in the onion. Alright, I want to try and prevent releasing too much of that juice, which might help me from not crying whilst I'm chopping this onion. Alright, so hand like a claw, so thumb behind your fingers, going to slice towards the root, like so. Turn my knife around, holding the onion nice and secure, slice through the onion 2 or 3 times. Turn your knife around again, holding it nice and tight this time because the onion will start to break up. Slice down so you've got relatively even sized pieces of onion, like so. Okay, again, any rubbish in the bin. Alright, so now it's time then to get all of these things cooking. So if you want to come here. So remember, the pan handle needs to be turned in. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of oil to my saucepan. So I'm using a saucepan, you can use a frying pan if you want to. And first thing I'm going to do is add my bacon. So we'll just have this on a medium heat. Wrong one. Okay, add your bacon into your pan. Okay, give it a stir with a wooden spoon. The reason why we're using a wooden spoon is so that you do not burn your hand with the handle of the spoon. Okay, it will conduct the heat, unlike metal. Okay.
It won't conduct the heat. You said it will.
All right, good. So give that a stir. Hold the handle in case you need to. With that, I'm then going to add in the onion. That stir. And I'm going to add my garlic. So keep stirring it then, Woody. Hold the pan if you need to. That's it. All done. Very good. So I'm just going to cook that until the onions have started to soften and the bacon started to cook. Okay, so the onions have started to soften. Now onions are really high in vitamin C and fibre. They're also high in vitamin B. So the onions are going to give texture and they're going to give flavour. Okay. The bacon in here is high in protein. Now I've removed any visible fat because I want to try and make sure that this product is as healthy as possible. Okay. And then the garlic. Garlic is a really healthy ingredient as well to add into your foods. Now science suggests that garlic makes the blood platelets less likely to clump together and stick to the artery walls of your heart. So therefore it's possible it could reduce the risk of any heart disease. So garlic has lots of health benefits. Garlic's also added for flavour as well. Okay. Alright, so once they're softened up, let's have a look. Okay, once it's softened up there and your bacon's cooked, we can add some more ingredients. Alright, so now I'm going to add in tomatoes. So I'm going to add a whole can of tomatoes. So make sure you keep it low so it doesn't splash everywhere. Be careful, adding it slowly. Now tomatoes contain many nutrients, including vitamin C and fibre, but it's also a good source of an antioxidant called lycopene. Now lycopene has been linked as well to many health benefits, including reducing the risk of heart disease. So tomatoes, again, are another really good healthy ingredient to add when you're cooking. Okay, give that a stir. And add your tomato puree. Okay, and add your mushrooms. Give it all a stir. Combine it all together. And then we can add some seasoning. So add in a little bit of salt. Not too much, so we just want to add some salt for flavour. Good. And then add a little bit of pepper. Again, just for a little bit of flavour. That's it, well done. Give that a stir. Now if you're adding dried herbs, you want to add these at this stage, okay? If you're adding fresh herbs, you always add fresh herbs at the end. So I'm going to add my fresh basil at the end. So I want to now let this simmer. Okay, I'm going to let it simmer for about 10 minutes to combine all of those flavours together and get a really good flavour on that pasta sauce. Okay, so that's been simmering for about 10 minutes. Now I want it to simmer and not boil. Okay, simmer just means gentle bubbles, so it's all the flavours are combining and getting really intense. So it should be a nice flavoursome pasta sauce. Okay, so just give it a little stir just to finish it off. Right, we can turn it off now then, Woody. So turn off the hob. All the way around. Well done. Okay, and then I'm going to finally add my fresh herbs. So I've got fresh basil here, really nice sweet flavoured herb. Okay, I've given it a wash. And with basil, okay, you want to tear it rather than cut it, because by tearing it's going to release more of the oil that's in here, so give it a really nice flavour. By cutting it, you're going to bruise the basil, okay, we don't want to do that. So tearing the basil and then placing that into your pan. So if you want to finish off doing that. Whilst this was simmering, I've also drained my pasta. Okay, so I've drained the pasta over the sink using a colander. Please get an adult to help you do this, okay, because you've got boiling water in here and it's a bit tricky. So I've drained my pasta. Okay, so there it is, all ready for the sauce to go on top. Alright, add the last little bit of basil, give that a stir. Okay, remember I've used a wooden spoon because that's not going to conduct the heat. I think Woody actually corrected me earlier on what I said about the wooden spoon. So it's the wooden spoons so it doesn't burn your hand. That's it, that's good. Alright, so now we're going to combine this lovely pasta sauce that Woody's made here with the pasta itself. Okay, so I'll just pour the sauce in and then gently stir that. Remember, clean as you go, keep your kitchen area nice and tidy. Make sure you're washing up, drying up and putting everything away properly. The pasta that we've used as well is very good for you, lots of nutrients in here. It's a complex carbohydrate, so it's going to give you slow releasing energy. So it's a really good dish to have for your lunch or for your dinner. Get yourself a plate or pasta bowl ready, and then you can add some of that pasta to the bowl. That looks absolutely delicious. Perfect lunch made today. Make sure you wipe down any spills. Okay, and then we'll finish off with a little bit of torn basil on the top. You may want to add some Parmesan cheese if you like that. And then there's your pasta dish, perfectly made and ready for lunch. Okay. All right, Woody, did you enjoy making that?
Yes.
Okay, was it easy?
Yes.
What would you add to it if you made it again?
Probably olives and peppers.
Okay, good, well done. All right, so I'm looking forward to seeing what you've made. I'm looking forward to seeing some pictures of what you've made and some tasters' comments. Okay, bye.